Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the IRM portal, the Information Request Managers portal, and the whole idea of having an Information Request Manager portal. It's a way you can control what information request managers, i.e. your department reps, can see when they are working on a request part which is specific to them. Now, they may be handling the whole of a request, or obviously they might also be handling just an activity, which would be the normal part of it. If you've got one of those activities where 3 or 4 people need to be involved, then they need to just see who else is involved, and they just need to see the requests in which they are involved. You may also want them to be applicant blind. You may also want them not to be able to see private or SARS type requests or sensitive FOIs or whatever. And that's all tick boxes in their employee admin, which we just introduced in 1 or 2 of the previous sessions, but which we're going to run through today. So today it's about the ability to say whether or not they can see reports, what documents they can upload, their access, applicant blindness, and so on, and exactly what they can see. Now, obviously, what they can see will depend upon what they're supposed to be doing as they run through it. So is it, for example, a SAR? Are they allowed to see those private requests, or is it an FOI? And the department rep, for example, will be able to see just the information that they're allowed to. The definitions we're going to run through today, and all these things are defined on the requesttracker.co.uk website, but the definitions that we're going to run through today are basically, obviously, what the department rep sees is their activity, i.e. their subtasks. Some people call them subtasks or modules of the response that you will probably collate centrally and hand back to the customer. Some department reps, as we've said, have to actually respond to the person. So it may be that a particular question is just for the public transport folks or the parks folks, and they would actually respond to the customer in some local authorities. In others, they give the information back to the information governance team who deal with it. So it depends on your workflow. Obviously, the type of request determines what people can see. They may not even see SARS. They may not be allowed to. And obviously, the definition of information request manager, IROs, department reps is important, because that's the people we're talking about, the specialists in the departments who would answer that particular part of or give you that particular part of the response. They'd have access to that information. They deal with it every day. Obviously, they may or may not receive the auto acknowledgements and email triggers. And then lastly, it's important that there is some sort of redaction and control moderation layer before anything goes onto the public disclosure log. The other important function is the tick box for applicant blindness. So several people, you may want to make them applicant blind, so they can't say, oh, that's Mr. Angry from 23 Acacia Avenue again, because that would affect perhaps the way that they actually plan their response. Now, you may remember there are various different request types, and that you can control how they behave. We'll be going through this next year now in the admin functions, but you may remember we introduced this screen because not only can you give it bright colors to show up in reports, but very important here, there is a tick box for whether it is public or private, and that includes whether it's deemed as private externally or internally. So does it show on your public disclosure log, yes or no? And also, is it private internally? So can Johnny in, I don't know, education see this information that's that somebody's raised a subject access request or not? You may remember that the activities made for one request may be split into multiple different departments, and it's important that the departments only see the information that they're supposed to see. So for a SAR, it may be that you handle it all internally, or you give it to only trusted people. For an FOI request, you'd probably be going out to get the particular technical or accounting information that you wanted from the department that holds that. And there could be, of course, multiple people involved in this area here of finding the request and redacting it and approving it and so on. So the dashboards will be very different for different folks. There are lots and lots of different dashboards and reports with different kinds of colorings according to where you are, how far the request is in its journey to being solved within 20 days for an FOI, 20 working days, a month for a SAR, or one of the other GDPR based, requests for erasure and rectification and so on. But obviously for an individual user, not only will there be colouring on their dashboards, which they may or may not visit, but they will also get alerts which will come through. And some of these alerts will be on activities which go to the people who are actually in the departments answering it. And some of them will be reminders for you to say, hey, in the central department, you've only got 10 days left on this job or 5 days left on that one. This example here is, I believe, from Edinburgh, but it shows you what triggerware looks like on the inside. And each of these, if you click on each of these things, as we'll be looking in the admin course later, you can see the event description behind it, and you can see the words behind it, just to give you a little, just raise the curtain a little bit on what we're going to be showing you next year. So moving on to the activities, as you're aware, you would be creating different activities for different people. So let's just have a look at how that works. If I just zip over to this job here that we created in the last session and bring it up, you can see that there are activities for various different people. So there's one activity here for this imaginary Angelina Jolie person, and there's 3 for the administrator. So somebody here is going to be looking after the redaction, somebody's going to get the management sign off and so on and so forth. But Angelina Jolie is in the department, and she actually has to get the CCTV footage on this particular request. Now, obviously, she doesn't see this internal dashboard with everybody's jobs, everybody's information requests, nor does she see the everybody's activity dashboard. When she actually logs onto her system, which I have here, when she logs onto this, if I just maximize this so we can spend a little bit of time on it, and she looks at that particular one, then as you can see, she only sees the request that she has to manage, and she can actually see on here who else is involved. So she can see that somebody, once she's done her bit, is going to redact it, somebody's going to actually send it to the person, and so on. Also, when she has finished doing her part, she can upload files, and what she can also do is she can just drop you an email, or some people actually have a form that these people fill out. But what she can also do is she can set the status, so it could be not set, in progress, half done, complete, or whatever. And when we, I'm not sure if I still have the status, application status still up. No, I was just working on it previously to add that half done one, which wasn't there before. But the basic idea is that you can put as many of these as you wish in. So the activity which can then be completed, so she can put either her resolution, if she goes back to it, information request details, she could put her resolution in there. She's the only person. She can obviously add information to the notes and decide whether they're public or private or not. And if I clearly need to, so as I was saying, she can add details to the notes. Come along. Where's that? Oops. So she can add public or private messages onto here, and she could add, if she wanted to, and if you define that that's your process, she could add the entire process. So sent to blah, 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 and she can make that a public note. Now, obviously, it's irrelevant because this is a SAR. That public note isn't going anywhere. It's not going on the public disclosure log or anything, because in general, the whole of all of the activities to do with the SAR, this is a request for CCTV footage, for example, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere near the public portal anyway. So it's irrelevant whether you click that as public or private. If, on the other hand, it was you've got a subject, IR subject exemption status, what's this? How much did you spend on the bridge? Now, that's not even a sensitive one. That's a public interest information thingy. She is obviously involved with that in some way. I'm not quite sure why that has. She must be. Maybe I've made her the owner. No, she's not the owner. Oh, she must. Her activity must be completed. So at some point, if we show completed ones as well, there we are. Angelina Doney has already finished that, and she's put it down as completed. So in the center, when people do these activities, you can see who's completed what, and you can chase up the people that haven't, assuming you train them to change that thing. Now, some people also want to get some idea of resources costs, and there's lots of things to fill out here if you want to find out how much time people are spending, because it may well be that you have to, like the rest of us, beg for new resources from the powers that be and ask for more people and so on. So it's very important to be able to measure those things. But obviously, the whole act of measuring the resources that are required and the time taken to answer these activities creates an overhead in itself. So you pays your money and takes your choice. Going back to the information request details, you'll remember that one of the tick boxes on somebody's user admin section, for those of you who are administrators, is whether they're applicant blind or not. And you can see clearly that she is applicant blind here, this person that we've logged in as, Angelina Jolie, but also you can decide whether or not they see reports. So right now, she can't see any reports on here. If I wanted to change that, I would go over to my admin portal and pick up her user admin over here. Pick Angelina Jolie, and I could just tick that she's not that. Okay, so she can see private information requests, but she's applicant blind, which is obviously bonkers because you want to know who the applicant was for obvious reasons. She has access to the emails on those that are attached, and she can view reports. So I'm now going to save that change. And so now, if I just refresh this, now I can see the reports menu up there, so I can see which reports I can see. And remember, you can decide which reports they can see by putting those in the menu. She can actually create new information request items, because a lot of our customers, the requests actually get sent into the department that then have to raise them. So it's kind of backwards for some of you, and some of you that'll seem perfectly normal. So she can actually raise a new one. Obviously for that, she can't be applicant blind. She needs to know who it's for and who she's going to respond to and so on. If we go back to this particular one, now you can see that she's not applicant blind. And the importance of that, obviously, is it may be that she works for an authority where the practice is that the people who are the department reps actually respond to the people in the field. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. To point out two things. This is now becoming the home for anything to do with FOI requests. Somewhere around here, we should have the courses, and this is the working lunch with Accelerate courses, and you can see the dates here. So day 7 is 12th of January, and that's when we're going to be going through reviews and appeals. You may be interested to know there are some new portals that are available. This is our reviews and appeals portal, so you can see this is actually a live one from one of our customers. So I'll move off that, and there are some various other portals, and they're coming up in this kind of new way of doing the user interfaces, so that we can customize them for your authority, and that will be talking about that quite a lot in the the ability to customize dashboards for different users and things. We'll be talking about that in the admin sections. So the last user section coming up is number 7 about reviews and appeals, and then we're going to be going on to the super user admin section. And once again, thank you very much indeed. Have a great Christmas and New Year.